Hi, everyone. Today is Wednesday, December the 23rd of 2020, and welcome to Rudy's Psychic Meetup. And today, stepping in for Rudy is Barefoot Doc, a fellow Patreon, and they managed to work it out. Rudy is working on the road today. Nice to see you, and you're coming from Australia.
Hi, Sam. Yes, I am, and it's actually Christmas Eve where I am.
So if you want to tell the newbies a little bit about you, because we've had quite a few people join in the last month who have no idea how this works, and if you want to give them some background.
Sure. I am a fully qualified acupuncturist and Chinese medicine herbalist, and I also apparently have a gift. So most of you here probably have gifts too, I would think. I found Sam, I think at the end of 2018. I joined the Patreon it must have been 2017, Sam. You started in 2018, didn't you?
Actually, January of 2019 was when I started. Yeah.
Aha. I'm losing years. Oh, my goodness.
It hasn't been that long. Actually, I'm coming up on my second anniversary in January.
Wow. So I started on the Patreon in April of 2019 then.
Yes, you were very early.
Yes. So I think I'm an OG. That qualifies me, doesn't it?
Yes, you are an OG.
I love this group. This group is such an amazing combination of contrarian thinkers and woo-woo gifted people. It's just brilliant. So if you're new to Patreon, for Sam's Patreon, please hop on Discord. There are the most amazing conversations there and great tips, either on cryptos or on woo-woo. And you'll have a ball. The people here are very forgiving.
Yeah. Let's get started with those questions and see what limits I can push tonight.
Hi, Sam and Doc. This is from Tanya Oz. Besides cryptos rising, what are some positive predictions you have for humanity for 2021 and beyond? Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas, Tanya Oz.
Well, just the technological advances. I mean, think about it. The cures coming for diseases that I see. I mean, this is the most exciting. This is when people are getting all upset about these different things. And, to have somebody telling you, listen, the climate change thing, it's not as dire as they're predicting. And science will save us. There are things that we can do to save ourselves. I mean, we're polluting the planet. We need to stop polluting the planet. And there are things that everyone can do individually to reduce their footprint. Nothing wrong with that, right? But these dire predictions and handing a whole bunch of money over to a government so what, they can throw some good parties? I don't want to have anything to do with that. It's just the idiot parade. So we need to, keep the government out of all of these social issues. They need to just, worry about getting our roads paved and our healthcare looked after and, homeless people put a roof over their head. I mean, they're failing with the very basics that government is supposed to be doing. Why are they branching out into these other areas? I mean, there's such a dismal failure in what it is that they're supposed to be doing. And I see that there's going to be this great awakening in that area, right? And you're going to have people who've really turned a blind eye to all of this, because part of the problem is that you have these individuals, and not all of them, it's like doctors, right? You can have doctors who get in it for the money, surgeons who get in it for the money. I remember I met somebody who was in school, in university, and he was already a doctor, but he was training to be a plastic surgeon. And I asked him why. Why are you training to be a plastic surgeon? And he says, I like that, if somebody's in this horrible disfiguring car accident, I can at least make it look like nothing ever happened to them.
Yeah.
Right. And I thought that was very noble. I thought, you know what, that's a very good reason to go into plastic surgery. Not that you can do your education here and then move to California and make 5 million, 50 million a year. I don't know what they pay. I have no idea. Right. But, it's the same in many situations, that you're going to have some people who get in for one reason and some people who get in for others. But the positive thing about what's coming for the future is because it was driven so far off into the ditch with all these people going to jail that the average person says, why not me? You know, I should run. You know, I've been in, you know, I always was sort of the mother bear for the neighborhood here. And I volunteered and part of the PTA and, you know, getting involved when, you know, somebody is ill and making sure that they have everything in place. Like there's always individuals in communities who step forward. But why not for politics? Because it's so dirty and it's so expensive and, you know, but when we see that change coming for the future, that would be very optimistic.
Thanks. This one's from Marnie. Hi, guys. Is it possible that the in-between can see the light and have the courage to go into their next life lesson they know they are supposed to have? Thanks.
Oh, yeah, that actually happens eventually. I always tell people, like, don't get upset. It's kind of like what the Catholics call purgatory, the in-between. And I think that a lot of it has to do with just people who are afraid to have, like, quote unquote, they were told it was judgment instead of an end of life review. But eventually they get sick of going around the merry-go-round, you know, and realizing they're not where they should be. And it's very boring in the in-between as well. So
yeah,
they
would
move on
be.
to the light. Yeah. And it's a blessing when they find like a medium or somebody who can move them to the in-between. I wish I had. I would say if somebody said to me, Samantha Jane, out of all the abilities that mediums have, is there anyone that you feel you don't have right now that you would wish for? And I would be like, to help those things that the people caught in between, to help them cross over. I wish I had figured out how to do that.
Okay. So from Crypto Watchman, hey, Sam and Barefoot Doc, I've been feeling anxious, sometimes stopping what I'm doing to take a moment to take a deep breath. I haven't been following much of the news or current events, but I'm engrossed in my own family box. Do you think I'm connecting with big changes coming, or is it cabin fever?
I think that you're connecting with big things coming. I think that, see, for me, you have to look at it from my point of view. Remember, I told you guys a few months ago about how when I used to do readings and stuff, which are they're much more intense than even doing a live stream. And except for maybe Ask a Medium. Ask a Medium's pretty intense. That's probably, that's probably the most intense thing. I probably get the most intense attacks before Ask a Medium, you know, where I have to run to the other side to get my information. And I would say that before it used to be like maybe a 3 out of 10, but it's been like a 9.5 out of 10. And I've been like, yeah. So from my point of view, I'm like, well, I know what I am, but I know that I'm a light being like everyone else is. So how can they not feel anything? Right? If it's like a 9.5 on the Richter scale for me, and I'm involved in the ethos and stuff, even if you are doing readings and that kind of thing, you must be getting some sort of residual. It's been like batshit crazy.
I'm glad you're feeling it too, Sam, because I've really been feeling it, particularly the last couple of weeks for some reason.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, oh my gosh, this better be over soon because I'm having trouble getting sleep now, and it's affecting me. It's affecting I feel kind of, you know, and sometimes you're like, oh, you seem like you're so tired. Oh, no kidding.
Yeah,
I know what, and I'm having very vivid dreams at night too. And they're all like medium related. They're all like woo-woo, futuristic, you know. Like I said, the woman who was like, I told you you guys a story about I had a dream that there was this woman, but she was speaking in tongues, but they weren't real tongues. And then I started her, and that was in my dream. That's when it's like I am experiencing that a lot more, and I'm remembering, which is unusual.
Useful too.
Yeah.
Okay. So, Crypto Watchman, I love your blab about how you have experienced projecting yourself into an alien spacecraft. Can you tell us about it again for the newbies? What prompted you to project yourself into the spacecraft?
Oh, I didn't. It was an accident. It was accidental. Yeah, it was early days. I didn't know what I was doing.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and I was just there, but I think it was because I was supposed to know about this. They're, where they're on their way here. Maybe this is in the future or something and what they look like and stuff. But I was just
See,
there all of a sudden talking to whoever the commander was of that spacecraft.
wow. So, Crypto Watchman also asks, what type of alien were you on board or were on board?
Well, the one that I would say, it has an exoskeleton. So it doesn't look human at all. It has, where our skeleton's inside and we're fleshy, they would be more like insect-like.
Wow.
Right. But with human like motions, and it did not speak to me. We communicated with our minds.
Wow.
So
Okay. That sounds really weird.
I know.
Did they know?
I wasn't afraid either. So I knew I was in the spirit, because I was like, okay, I'm definitely not in my sort of human mind, because otherwise I'd be scared at this point.
Absolutely.
I'm standing there and this thing that looks like an insect is about at my eye level, and I'm standing up and it is sitting down.
Oh
Yes. And its legs and it's kind of leaning over a bit, but it's surprised that I'm there. It's like, it did not realize that any of us had the ability to do that. And then that's where I kind of gave it the warning and said, don't come here. So yes, there are ones who are like us, and we will know your moves ahead of time. So don't come.
Wow. Oh,
So
wow.
we'll see how that works out. But that was the only one I had. People are like, do you believe in aliens? And I was like, yep, I would astral projected onto a ship, I believe. And I believe that it wasn't a dream just because of the way that it was. I mean, it's the same way that I get information during readings and stuff like that comes true.
Right. Oh my God, that's amazing, Sam. Thanks for that. The newbies would be very interested to hear about that.
Sure. I know people are right into aliens and everything, and I'm like, I haven't seen one before except for that one time, and it was pretty eye-opening, and and I'm not chicken to admit that if I hadn't been in the spirit, I probably would have been very frightened.
Absolutely. Okay, so I've always wondered about if some magicians are actually gifted psychics, mediums, and also gifted with psychokinesis. Would you be able to name any magicians that are gifted ones? Ooh, interesting.
Well, I do believe that there are some who do make deals, right, with, dark energies. The same way that there's mediums who get information from familiar spirits. I mean, not everybody who operates in the realm that I'm operating in, or that the realm that you're operating in, operate in the light. And that is a choice. Again, it's free choice. This is a free choice place. And you choose to be, a light worker or a dark worker. And are all magicians like that? Oh no, absolutely not. I mean, the majority, they just practice their illusionary, so it's just illusions. We've learned some of the very basic ones, some of the very basic tricks some of us know how to do, as far as, holding a coin and how you manipulate it with your fingers. And we've all learned that stuff as kids, and they're just a level up from that. And I know people have tried to turn it into something spiritual and demonic, and they're making a deal with, and it's like very small percentage are doing that.
Good to know.
Yeah.
Okay. Next one. I am anticipating my 2-year-old son's gifts to show through. At what age do you think I will recognize this? I just don't want to be surprised when he confesses and says, I see dead people, lol.
Usually by the time they're around 4. So when they can verbally communicate to you, because they'll talk to you about sometimes the stuff that they're seeing, And of course, if you see anything yourself, that's very helpful. Like it was for me with the ghost dog and my son seeing the ghost dog and I saw the ghost dog and, and then he was very, very young. I think we were talking about that the other day and I came to the conclusion, I think he was around 3 or 4.
Okay. So Sam, with your kids, did you ever catch them chatting to entities when there was nobody else in the room, that type of thing?
No, I did not.
Okay. Jackie B. Hi, Sam and Barefoot Doc. Can you blab about portals? How do they open? Does it have to do with the humans at the location and abilities?
Well, I think that there's a combination of portals from what I know about them, from what the people on the other side have told me, because I've asked about them myself, because one of the reasons I don't live in my house right now and I live at the studio is because of the portal. And when I started doing this type of light work, I got the attention of principalities in high places. And I think that increased the activity in that portal, and it affected my son, who can still see dead people. And he began being harassed by a shadow person. We called him Dark Man. And when I asked Dark Man to show himself to me, he did. And what I saw, I could not get rid of. Like I said, if I could change one thing that I can't seem to master, or it's not my thing, right? It's like you can only, they don't want you being all over the place. When you have abilities, like if you're here to do healing, that's what they want you to do healing, right?
Yeah.
If I'm here to be a medium and teach other people about what it's like to be a medium, how maybe they could be a medium, or recognize what it is that they have and help other people with the information that they're able to collect. And what information not to share, because again, you don't want to harm anybody. You want to give them information that will be helpful in the long run.
Absolutely. Actually, we'll have to send Steve-O over to you, Sam, for the dark guys. All right. So Jackie B also asks, who comes through these portals? Only the in-between, other dimensions?
Right. So portals are not a good thing, right? I'm sure everybody got that from my comment. Yeah, we moved out, Dark Man, show yourself. Oh my gosh, that is such bad news. We are moving out until my son gets a handle on, then we can move. Then, I either sell it or we move back in, So hopefully we can get that handle. I don't have a problem with any of these things because I'm older and I know what it is and I can handle it. You see, knowledge is power in this sort of thing. And that's why I'm glad that, everybody's coming together and, sharing their information and their situations, because I don't get all of these situations. But yes, I know portals because I have the 1 in a million house. I mean, actually, you know what? I'm sure where I live, there's probably maybe 130,000 homes, and there might be like 10 or 20 that have portals, and I happen to move into one that has a portal.
Of course.
Listen, most places do not have portals. I don't want people to be worried that they might have a portal. It's a very, very small percentage of places. How do they form? I don't really know 100%. I think that there's some different things that can happen. It's typically in a very, like a very old place. That has many different souls, so that you have enough sort of bad experiences in one area. So if you have humans living in an area for 400 or 500 years, and then you'll have enough cumulative bad experiences to form this portal. If you go to places where there's battlegrounds from the Civil War, for example, there's probably a portal there somewhere. Just from, because again, it's negative. It seems to be a focal point of negativity, and it opens this portal, and that's how it works.
Okay. So is it possible for someone with gifts to close down a portal, Sam?
Temporarily, for sure. It's more important to avoid the portal
Yeah.
and, or close it up, try to seal it in some way. Like, for example, I don't know for sure if there was like this well in the basement of the Amityville house. I don't know if that's true or not, but I'm just going to use that as an example, that if you filled that well in, because I guess their story was that that was where the portal came through. But if you fill that well in and you do the different things that they tell you to do, like you use salt and sage and have prayers and different things that keep anything from coming through, then that would work for a time for sure. And it's certainly while the person lived in the house or what have you. But anybody who says they can get rid of a portal, I guess I'm suspicious of them. But again, I can't get rid of them. So who am I to say, right?
We might find someone on the board who can do it. You never know.
I would love that. I think that
Yeah.
would be great, because wouldn't it be great if you actually had a list of people that you could say, well, I don't do this, but I know somebody else who can help you with this problem.
Ugh, so good.
Yeah.
Okay. Another big advantage to belong to this group.
Yeah.
Okay. Steve M asks, "Hi guys, I love the show. Recently, Sam commented that entities on the other side can influence human behavior in a negative way. My question is whether these entities are attracted to certain people and whether some of those people have realized it and actually encourage interaction with these entities for personal gain of some sort. There are some conspiracy theories out there relating to family bloodlines and secret societies, etc."
Yeah. I know what he's talking about, but I think that a lot of those are rubbish. They're not true. But it is true about the individuals liking the attention, like even, priests who do exorcisms, some of them have been sucked in by accessing information from demons. Asking them, and I'm like, you're so not supposed to do that. I know that. But the knowledge, right, that they can gain from somebody who has even I guess they call it evening knowledge. That means that they can see and kind of make a good guess as to what it's supposed to be. Whereas God has, like Source has the actual knowledge. The familiar spirits or demonic entities can just guess. They can look and see and then just guess. Right.
So do you think that's like an ego thing that makes people reach into those areas where they shouldn't be reaching into?
Yes.
Okay. I kind of had that feeling that might be the case, but
yeah, that's one of the most dangerous things about having superhuman abilities, is that some people think that, they're all that in a bag of chips now, instead of realizing that, they were just born with this in their DNA, and it's so that they can serve. And then they just need to get over themselves and realize that it's not for them, it's for others. Now, there are people who don't have this, God-given gift, and they want to conjure it. And these are the people who might play with things and then like the attention and begin to get drawn into it. And they can get some abilities from that, but it's not from, like, I wouldn't call them a light worker. They would never be able to have knowings like I have knowings, but they would be able to, maybe call a few good horses or something on the racetrack.
So it kind of comes from a polluted space rather than a clear, clean space.
Right. And the intentions are not the best either. And that's another thing that you always want to stay away from, the self-serving stuff. And that's why there's a difference between, supporting blockchain because it's going to change the future, bank the bankless, and lift people out of poverty, versus, becoming a trader because you're going to make millions of dollars and buy a Lambo and, and spend the money on liquor and whores. There's a difference.
Oh my goodness. Okay. So from Rich D. Hi, Sam. Bruno Groening was a spiritual healer from the 50s who died but is still helping people today. Do you have any insights on this? And he's got a link there.
Okay, well, I would have to review that ahead of time, but I'm going to guess that there's somebody making money off of this.
Yeah.
Yeah, and unfortunately, when I die, any of my abilities will die with me. So there'll be no, flogging of Samantha Jane after I pass.
You mean it's not like an artist who's worth more dead than alive?
Yeah, I know. I was surprised.
Hi, Sam and Barefoot Doc. Many psychics are talking about ascension from 3D to 5D post December the 21st, 2020. Is this part of the Great Awakening for mankind? If so, will everyone experience it? Thank you.
Well, everyone's going to experience it because we're all here together. There's no separation of the individuals. That's the first mistake that I see being kind of preached about this ideology that I've been told is not true, is that people are going to be left behind and stuff. So what's happening is that I believe I can feel for myself that the vibrations are increasing and it's become easier for me to access the ethos. And I feel like I am just like everybody else. And it's not like I'm more enlightened or anything like that. That's for sure. In fact, many of you know things about the woo-woo that I still don't know or have any clue about, to be, quite frank with people. So this was just something that I was appointed to do. And that's why I have these abilities, I believe. That's what I was told. If you build it, they will come. And then we'll back you up. And even stuff that I cannot do, they'll give me information about to help the person who can do it better or manage it, believe that they can do it. That's the thing, right? Is a lot of people, they don't believe that they can do it, even though they have results time after time after time. It's just, it's human. It's completely human. I doubted my abilities. I mentioned that before about doubting my abilities, and people are like, what, really, you? That's so crazy. It's like, yeah, because you've been a part of it and you've seen the videos and you've watched the time stamping. But there's a lot of stuff that I'm only aware of because you guys bring it up and you tell me, oh yeah, I remember when you said this and that, 2 months ago, or maybe somebody was just watching an old replay because they just joined, and then they'll bring it up. They'll say, oh my gosh, that came true. And I'm like, what? And they give me the link, and I'd be like, and I'd watch it and I'd be like, oh, I did say that. I was in the blab. I had no idea. So again, this wonderful grand experiment, how it's working out, has been pretty awesome.
Isn't the technology wonderful that we can actually capture this stuff and it's recorded?
Yeah.
It's wonderful. And the timing of all of this, Sam, too, because I know, speaking to other people on the board, there are a lot of people who have started to feel things, see things, sense things that maybe haven't before. Exactly. So this group is so wonderful for that.
And I just figure, well, if my vibration's increasing and I'm a light being just like everybody else is, then why wouldn't everybody else's vibration be increasing as well? I'm feeling it so strongly, and we're all in this together. So there's really no separation. It's not like we're going from 3D to 5D and going to leave behind this is not true. It's just, there's going to be a period of enlightenment. There's going to be more people born who have the abilities like what I have.
Okay, from DMC, hi, who created the human race?
Who? Oh, those Anunnaki people, the ones when they were screwing around with the DNA of the hominids that were already here on the planet. Because they needed slaves, right? But they needed something above the hominids, more intelligent.
Wowzers.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and there's just, again, it's against the rules to do that because they had advanced scientific knowledge and they were messing with another society. But again, source needing a place to sort of go through the training ground of life to move up and learn more, realize that becoming human for a time, there's usefulness in it.
Absolutely. Okay, so from This Is Me, hi Sam and Doc. Are other universes wildly different from ours, perhaps with rules of how gravity works or needing oxygen and water for life? And will travel between universes ever be possible?
I don't know if travel between universes will ever be possible in the human form, because we're not meant to do that, but it could be a possibility. I don't know how much longer, humankind is going to be operating, hopefully for a lot longer, thousands of years, because we certainly need the training ground. But I don't see anything here beyond being on Earth.
Mm. So we have to step out of our meat sacks to be able to do that, maybe.
Yes, we do.
Okay. Alrighty. Hi, Sam and Barefoot Doc. What about a place like Sedona, Arizona? I don't sense that these portals are negative. I have sensed negative portals in places where I suspect there were battles. That's from Katrina, Cat M.
Right. I don't disagree that there can be places where you're getting positive vibrations, but I don't believe those are portals. That's a different thing.
Aha.
Thanks, everyone, for hanging out.